Hey, it's May 13th, doing some online sleuthing. MyComicShop.com is basically Lone Star Comics, which was the local comic store in Arlington, Texas, and Dallas. And at one time they had a whole bunch of stores, and I think they even spread up to Oklahoma. They opened their first storefront in the summer of '77 in a little tiny shop, and I used to walk 10 miles there and 10 miles back to buy old comics in the late '70s when I was in junior high. And a lot of good memories of it. But in the '90s, they stopped selling old comics and they started selling them only online. But they kept their store open to sell all the new comics and stuff and pop culture. And then a few years back, maybe about 10 years, well, maybe not quite 10 years, they sold it to some other people and they called it Wild West Comics. And Lone Star Comics disappeared and just became mycomicshop.com. If you ordered anything from mycomicshop.com, you'll see the receipts, and I think the return address still says Lone Star Comics. But I was on here looking. It's a really good, they've got a great selection. I was looking at Monster World, which was a 1964 through, I think, 65 or 66 companion magazine to Famous Monsters. Same publisher, Warren. And let's see. Yeah, they went through September of '66. And anyway, they stopped publishing it after issue 10. So what they did in 1970, Famous Monsters was about at issue 69. They wanted to get up to issue 100 really quick to have a big 100th anniversary celebration. So what they did is they took this magazine, which was 10 issues, and they counted it as issues 70 through 79 of Famous Monsters to get them there quicker. So basically, one issue of Famous Monsters was number 69, and then the next time you picked up Famous Monsters, you were at issue 80. And these issues count as 70 through 79. So anyway, I was wondering about that the other day when I was trying to, I was buying a bunch of Famous Monsters that I didn't have at Duncanville Books, and I wanted to make sure I made a little list of which ones I had, and so I didn't buy them a second time, and I got confused. And anyway, this is interesting at the bottom. I don't know if you ever look at this. It says, about us. We've been selling comics since 1961. Our first sale, Fantastic Four #1, at 25 cents. See one of our first ads and on the web since 1996. Read a little more about our history. Yeah, I'll read that later. But interesting, the ad is an old mimeographed deal that appeared in the Rockets Blast Comic Collector, which was I don't know if it's still published, but it was a early fanzine, and before the internet, it was a way to get back issues. But you can see here, has Buddy Saunders, and that's his family home. He was a teenager. He was selling these comics out of his parents' home. 1605 Joyce, Arlington, Texas. One of the early issues, I think maybe like issue 8 of Spider-Man, has a letter from Buddy Saunders, the owner of Lone Star Comics and MyComicShop.com, and you can, and it has this address because they used to print the address in the comics, so you could correspond with other fans. Let's see. So he has things marked as mint, very good, no cover. So you can see his prices. You can get issue number 3 of Fantastic Four mint for $1. Number 9 for 75 cents, which was a lot of money then. This ad is from about 1962, it says. You can see the prices. Yeah, but you can look at this. Looking at a lot of houses on Zillow, you can actually let's look up his house. See what let's look at the house that had all these old comics in it. Here it is. Street view. Let's see. All right, so this is the house that he grew up in and he sold all those comics out of, and it is, I think, just down the street from where. How do I? Come on, how do I do this? Okay, so it's difficult holding my phone and trying to manipulate a computer, and I'm not a very good computer person. Okay, I want to get this map big. Street view. How do I just go to the stupid map? Well, anyway, I'll show you the store. This is where the very first. This is really down the street from that childhood house, and this is the. Let me back out around a little bit. This is East Abram Street, and it's not a really good part of East Abram Street. I'm sure this was a nice area in the 60s when he was growing up, but by the 70s, maybe it was changing a little bit, but now it's pretty bad. And about 20 years ago, at not too far from here, I think it was a supermarket, a girl, Amber Hagerman, was kidnapped and killed, and that's where the Amber Alert comes from. It's named after her, so you can tell it's not the best part of town. But here was the very first location of Lone Star Comics. It was tiny, tiny room, and now it is the Out of Africa Barber. What does it say? Oh, my glasses on. Ooh, what happened there? Come on. Out of Africa Beauty and Boutique Salon. But so I would go there, open the store. My uncle took me there a few times, drove me there, and bought me like $20 of comics. This window, as I recall, was a giant picture of Spider-Man. And you go in, the old comics were back here, the cashier was here, they have some undergrounds in the back, wall of science fiction comics in the back, books, paperbacks, because it was called Lone Star Comics and Science Fiction is the name of the store. And they had a commercial that ran at a local movie theater, and it was stop motion animated with monsters and things, and it was for Lone Star Comics. And I wish it's not online that I can see. I wish I could find a copy of their commercial that they would run before the movies at the Cinema 4 on Collins Street. But it's just a little back street, and I remember there was a disco across the street. So let's look at where that was. It was called the Whiz Disco. Yeah, this is just, you can tell this is not, it's just kind of a dead-end street. Yeah. So the disco, because it was the disco era, this would have been Whiz Disco. You know, I don't know what kind of, it's now, what does that say? Some kind of mechanics place. Anyway, show you a few things. Go to YouTube and let's type in stop. I noticed that yesterday, these are things I've been looking up. Yesterday there was what was it? Oh yeah, Silver Age Dave was showing a Golden Records Thor. What the heck is that? Okay, we're trying to type is difficult. No, I know. Golden Records Thor. I'll show you. That's online. Golden Records Thor. The guy named Greg Abar has a ton of children's records online on YouTube. And it's definitely worth checking out his site. I mean, it's all these vintage children's records from 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Definitely worth it. So, but he has the Golden Records Thor, which is came with a reprint of his first appearance in Journey into Mystery, and that's an exciting thing to have a Thor record until you actually hear it, because it's really bad.
The most exciting superhero
I'll show you.
Journey into Mystery. Introducing the mighty Thor. The most exciting superhero.
Yeah, it sounds like a carnival barker at the state fair.
Begin the saga of Thor in this issue. The action begins on
Let me fast forward around in it.
page.
Mythological god? Or it is too bewildering. I must pause and think this out. Thor, the god of thunder. What do I remember of him from my school days?
Lord of the gods of Asgard. Come to think of it, Jane, perhaps this is not the right time.
If you wanna, I think the voices in the 1966 Marvel superheroes cartoon are far better. But it's I don't know. It's maybe it's not that bad. It's just something. Yeah, they also did. Golden Records also did the Avengers issue where Captain America first appears. Avengers Golden Records. I'll type in. Records. Really, I didn't realize how tough it would be to hold the phone while I type. Okay. So, what is this? This is, let me see what this is. This is,
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, Rogers, get with it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
that's something different. This is actually the Golden Records ish, except it doesn't, this is a, see, it's the same weird announcer. Let's see what the voices are like. Come on, plus.
Into the air. We're too late, Bucky. We'll have to go after it in another plane.
No, don't stop. I think I can reach it, Cap.
Thus do I triumph over Captain America and Bucky. If they reach the plane,
Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'm giving it a bad, because what I remember is really good though, is Leo the Lion had a children. It was MGM's children. Here it is, because I've looked it up in the past. This stuff is good. That was done for DC. The voices, the actors that are on this album I've had since I was like 4 or 5, and I grew up with it, and it helped me form my taste in music because
The official adventures of Aquaman. You know the real history of Aquaman, king of the 7 seas.
see, it's just much better done than those Golden Records Marvel ones.
Yes. And here come our octopus friends. What will they do? Just watch, Aquaman.
I think it's the same voices from the 60s Aquaman cartoon that Filmation did.
The swordfish have opened up a way into that hole.
And then it goes into his origin.
And lost in thought, Aquaman recalls the memories of the old lighthouse, back in time, more than 20 years ago, to the story told to him by his father, Tom Curry, the keeper of that old lighthouse.
I've since discovered what all this music is. That it's library music, and Tiger Guitars, that song that they use as the Aquaman theme. I found out it was done by a guy named Billy Muir and his Supersonic Guitars, and it's that's one of I guess that's my first exposure to that kind of music, guitar music, and it's stuck with me my whole life. You know, it has the
Fish! He swims better than I do. But how?
the origins of Green Lantern and Flash are actually the Golden Age Green Lantern and Flash, even though they show the Silver Age ones on the record cover. But it's cool. The end is really good and dramatic.
And the word spread. In a month's time, every sea creature came to do me homage. As I stood below the surface on a rocky ledge to review them, they paraded past me in a chain that ran on for days, pledging me total loyalty. Oh, yes. How well I remember.
And as the silent Aquaman thoughtfully gazes across the vast stretches of the deep seas that are his home, he realizes how his mother's words have come true. Why he is today the ruler of all the ocean.
It's just really outstanding. And Leo Records also did a Flash Gordon record where they got Buster Crabbe to do the voice. I mean, this was done in the '60s. See if we can find it. I know it's online. What did I type wrong? Maybe just record without. Try getting rid of that. This is really annoying to hold the phone. Oh, there we go. See, this is you know, I record this. You can record this right off of YouTube. Just took the audio out, and so it's the same. And they had Batman, Superman. They did Leo Records also did Prince Valiant and a bunch of stuff. So it's worth seeking out. I mean, they used to sell this record in the back of the Famous Monsters, I think, or someone was selling it.
No. The attack countdown has already started, and he doesn't know that I learned of the attack plan.
Anyway, it's great stuff. Of course, when I was a kid, I was growing up in the 70s, and we had Power Records, which were read-along comic books that had just ludicrous acting that this guy's got a ton of them. He's got a whole playlist. They're all just online if you want to seek them out. The one I remember so much is the Captain America and the Falcon and a Phoenix Shall Arise. Let's see. This guy's looks like he synced it up with the comic book panels. Yeah, I grew up with this. Okay.
Power Records presents Captain America and the Falcon in And a Phoenix Shall Arise. Captain America and the Falcon on night patrol.
Hey, Cap, what's with you, bud? You're moping around like you just lost your last friend. Definitely in. Not while I'm around.
What? You'll have to run that by again, Sam. I'm a bit slow on the uptake this evening. Some nights it just gets worse than others, that's all. Some nights it just gets worse.
Worse? What gets worse, Cap? Now I'm the one who doesn't follow.
I can't shake it tonight. The feeling that I'm a walking anachronism. A guy who looks like he's 20, even though he was fighting Hitler's horde some 30 years ago.
That guy that does the voice of Captain America is also the voice of Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four record, and he does Charlton Heston in the Planet of the Apes record. Power Records somehow tuned in exactly to where I was as a kid in 3rd and 4th grade. Everything I was into, Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, Marvel, DC, $6 Million Man, it's just like anything that I liked, they made a record of it. Like they had my childhood bedroom bugged and knew exactly what I wanted. It's just that the acting is so bad. I guess they're trying to be funny. They changed, in order to either simplify it so you understand an issue taken out of context. Probably that's it. Or maybe to shorten it so it'll fit on a 45. You can tell where they altered the dialogue, like here. That's clearly not the same lettering as here, and it's real obvious throughout. Though they did the monsters too, Tomb of Dracula, Monster of Frankenstein, the Marvel monsters. So those are things you can seek out. I'm going to do another video later on this evening about records and things you can seek out. And a lot of it's just online. And, oh, here's another thing. While we're on YouTube, you should seek out, this guy's a friend of mine. His name is Max Stevens, and he has a channel I just discovered Saturday night. I didn't know he's been doing this for 6 months, where he goes around to local record stores and all around looking for rock and roll records, and his channel is called I Buy Old Records. He's already up to 962 subscribers. I have 37 subscribers. So, but anyway, he's a lot more of an interesting character than I am. He's real funny. So you can click on his page, and maybe if my 37 subscribers subscribe to him, that'll put him up almost close to 1,000. So he goes around searching for records and everything. I think he's kind of had a little bit of a hiccup in it now that a lot of stores are closed, unfortunately. But yeah, look him up. Trying to think. I was talking about kids records. Another one to look for is a guy named Boy John, and Boy John, this channel has tons of children's records. It's just great stuff for you, and if you have little kids, you could expose them to the old records from 50, 60 years ago. So, or I think, it's highly entertaining if you're my age, very nostalgic and fun, and when it's around Christmas time, he's got tons of Christmas records. You don't have to listen to Mariah Carey or that horrid Paul McCartney. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. You can listen to the old, real stuff. And while we're at it, well, let me go to my page. I'm not signed in as myself, but let's see. Let's see, 37 subscribers. I need to change that up there. If you go to playlist on my page, oh boy, there we go. If you go to playlist, you can find, there's created playlist and there's saved playlist. And the created playlist are ones that I put together as I've been on YouTube, and then usually what I'll do is I'll go back and record video or audio of if it's music, I just record the audio on a 6-hour DVD-R, and if it's video, I'll record it on a 2-hour, so I have better if it's video, so I have better quality. So just music from certain. Right now, I'm working on the May playlist. Oh, this one here, if you're a comic book person, may interest you. This is my, okay. This is my playlist, Music to Read Comic Books By.